Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Designs by Dana. I'm Dana, and I'm also a close to my heart maker. Today I am starting a brand new series with the Coast to Coast Close to My Heart Maker collaboration. This will be a collaboration series that we will post on the third Thursday of every month. Currently there's 4 makers within this collaboration. I'd like to just take a quick moment to introduce the rest of the makers within the collab. So up here on the upper west coast we have Kim Ferguson. Then down here in the lower west coast we have Make It with Ashley. I'm right here in the Midwest, and I am Designs by Dana. And over here on the east coast in Florida we have Crafting with Amanda. Again, we will post our videos every third Thursday of the month. This month we are focusing on Christmas cards because Christmas is coming up. And I will have all the links to everybody else's videos in my description. And I encourage you to go into everybody's videos and take a look at those and post comments for us on what you liked. If you learned something new, we would love to have your feedback, and we really appreciate that. So let me get this out of the way and we'll get started on our project today. So today I am going to make my card using current papers available, and these are papers from the Christmas Story paper packet and sticker sheet. So you can see I've clearly cut into this, and so I'm only showing you just these 3 pieces of paper, but these are the 3 patterns I'm going to use on the card today. And then on the other side you can see are some additional beautiful colors and patterns that are also very rich and beautiful, but I'm going to stick with just these 3 for my project today. And then this is the sticker sheet that comes in the paper packet with the sticker sheet. Now when I buy a paper packet, I always buy my first one with the sticker sheet, and then if I need more paper I can buy extras without the sticker sheet, and just unless I just need extra stickers for some reason. But for today's project I don't think we're going to use the sticker sheet, but I might change my mind on that. We'll see. So let me bring in my Versamat and my supplies, and we'll kind of walk through what we've got going in case you want to make something similar on your own or follow along. What I have here is, the first thing I have is my little elf. So I'm also using the current Merry Elfmas stamp set and thin cuts. So you can tell by looking at this, the items with the turquoise shading are thin cut, and then we have some sentiments. So we're going to use this little boy elf and the thin cut that coordinates with him today. So I have him, and we're going to set him aside because we're going to do some coloring with him. Have a little piece of paper we're going to use for the iris of the card. This is the stocking shape that we're going to make and I'm not sure if I said this earlier, but we are going to make an iris card. So this is the stocking shape we're going to use, and I have the cutout shape because we're going to use him to decide where the elf is going to be positioned. And this is the overlay that's going to, this is where the design is going to show, and then we're going to lay it on this scarlet photo mat, which will then go on top of our card. Now, I'm not sure if you can tell on camera, but the card is a little bit larger than normal. So this is a 5x7 card. And to make that, what I did is I took a 7x10 piece of cardstock, and then I put it in my paper cutter, and I made a score line at the 5-inch line. And just like when you buy our bulk cardstock, or not cardstock, but cards and envelopes, it has that score line already made for you. And that makes the folding process much easier. So I did that as well. And then I could easily fold that to make my 5x7 card. So those are the pieces that we're going to need to put this together. So I'm going to set all of that aside for now. And we're going to go ahead and start by coloring in our little elf. So to do that, I chose to use the tri-blend markers, and the colors we're going to use are Fair Skin, Dull Green Blend, Gold Yellow Blend, and Dark Red Blend. So we're going to start with the fair skin. Now, I stamped him in the intense black, and I pre-stamped him so he would have a little bit of time to set so that we wouldn't have any bleeding. If I had used the regular black, when I go to color or blend, I would most likely have a lot of bleeding. Now, even though I did use the intense black, I'm still trying to stay away from the black lines as much as possible, just because sometimes you can still get a little bleeding unless it's sat for a really long time or perhaps you've heat set it. So I'm just going to color this in lightly, and you can see he's pretty lightly colored or skin toned, but this is what I would call a base coat or base color of the skin tone. So once I have that in, everybody, I'll tell you, everybody does their markering differently, but I do love to color. So I'm going to come in with my darkest color, and you'll notice with our tri-blend, they are tri because they're three. We have a light, a medium, and a dark. So I'm going to come in with my dark and add in some shadowing or shading where the skin tone would be the most dark, which is going to be around the edges. And obviously he's going to have some little shadow underneath his hat, just real lightly. And certain areas might be a little heavier shadowed than others. And then I'll come back in and just blend that in with the rest of the skin. And I'm doing just little tiny circular motions to blend that in. And that looks pretty accurate, but I thought he would look really cute with some rosy cheeks. So I'm going to come in here with my medium tone and add just a little rosy cheek effect on him. And I'm even going to come in with a little bit of darker on top of that and real lightly add some more color to that. And then I'm going to come back in with my light and just blend everything back out together. And you can see by doing that and giving that kind of another coat over the top and blending it all out, it all smooths out really nicely together. And he's just already looking adorable. So now I'm going to come to his cap, and I'm going to start with the cap with the mid-tone on my dull green. And that's because I'm trying to match it somewhat to my papers. And so I'm just going to carefully color in these lines. And because these are smaller spaces, I'm not going to worry about a whole lot of shading. And then let's see, I'm going to come up here and do this top little triangle. But I'm going to do just a tiny bit of shading. And since I've got most of my shadowing on this side, we'll just give it a little bit over here and then blend that in. And I don't really think I need to do too much on top there. So my next color will be the gold yellow blend. And I think I'm going to start that with the light and see where that takes me. I'm bringing this color in because most of the colors on my project are red and green, so I thought bringing in an extra color would just kind of add some pop to the card and to the little elf besides just red and green. So I thought some yellow gold might be a little nice addition. So I'm going to bring in the mid-tone here and just pull in a little bit of extra dimension and blend that out. And then finally we'll do the red. And I think we'll start with the mid-tone on the red as well. One of the things I like about our markers is they do have a fine enough tip that you can get into some pretty small spaces and not have to stress over that too much. I'm just going to add just a tiny bit here. And I don't even think that needs to be blended out. Now, not all of the elf is going to show through, because my vision is that he will be kind of peeking out of the stocking. So we're just going to color in parts of his clothing. So we're going to start here with the mid-tone on the green again, so it will match the cap. And while I'm coloring this in, I just want to remind you that if you are liking the video, please hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already subscribed. I really appreciate that. So don't really need a lot of blending and shading here, because not much of this is going to show. So I'm just gonna give that an extra little layer of darkness. And the only other thing that I think will show will be this one hand down here. So I'm going to put a little gold yellow on that, and we're going to give him a red glove. So since I know the rest isn't going to be exposed, I'm not going to take the time to color in the rest of him. So he is complete, and we can set him aside. Now what we can do is we can start working on this piece here. So this is where our iris is going to go. And what I wanted to do is a little experiment where I add a little bit of black to the inside of my stocking. And I'm doing that because once I lay it down, I want a little bit of contrast here. So instead of inking it, I'm going to come in with my black, and this is the chisel tip. And I'm going to do this real carefully and just kind of color the edge of that white cardstock black. And it may not even really make a difference, but kind of wanted to give that a try, just so that hopefully it'll have a little bit more contrast once I put it down. When you do this, you want to go really slow and carefully, because if you slip, obviously you've ruined your entire piece and you'll have to start all over. And I had 2 of these cut in case I did mess up, and I started my video last night, and once I got finished, I found out that none of the video recorded. So I had to recut and start everything all over again today. Okay, so now I'm just going to set all of this aside, and I'm going to bring in my pieces for the iris part. If you've ever done any iris paper piecing, you know that you're going to use a lot of strips of paper. And I say a lot, but not really, because it really doesn't take a lot of paper to do this technique. And you also need to have a template. So I want my card to lay this way. So what I need to do is I need to turn it around, because we're going to work from the back side of the panel. So my template needs to face the opposite direction. So I'm going to line this up with the template, just like so. And I'm going to use some temporary tape to hold that down. And this is numbered, but it is backwards because I flipped it in my software. So what I'm going to do is I want the top part of the stocking to be all of this color, and then the rest of the stocking will be my reds and my greens. Now some people will put these upside down because we are working upside down from the back. I like to keep them face up so I know what I'm using. But you just have to remember that when you put them down, you're putting them down upside down. So we're going to get started, and I have my mono air here. With this technique, I do suggest a small type of adhesive like this, and you'll definitely need some scissors. So I have my fancy microtip scissors, and I say fancy, but they're really not that fancy, but they're just wonderfully sharp and precise. And we're going to cut each little strip. So if you've ever done this before, you know that it takes just a little bit of time, but it's not hard. It's just making sure that you go in order and you line each one up, and then you trim them down because you don't want a lot of excess running across the back panel of this card. So bear with me, and we're going to put this all together. I think I'm going to do it all on camera so you can see the process, because we will jump back and forth quite a bit once we get down into the foot portion of the stocking. And I want you to be able to kind of see how that works in case you've never done an iris piece before. So we're just going to finish up the top here. And this is all we're going to need of this paper pattern. So you can see it really, I don't even think I used 2 full strips. So that doesn't take a lot. So we'll get that one out of the way. So now for the red and green, if you want to envision this actually being like a box, my red's going to be on this side, and then my greens are going to be on these 2 sides. So I'm going to start with my red, and I'm going to start over here, because the first thing I'm going to do is fill in the toe, and then we'll start alternating. So I'm going to start with the toe here, and this starts at number 6. So I'm going to go 6 through 10 and get those filled in first. So I mean, the main thing is just filling it in and making sure every space gets covered, because you don't want any gaps. And then trim along as you go. So we'll keep doing that. While I'm doing that, I just want to give you another reminder to make sure you go check out the other videos by the other makers. I already had a sneak peek because my video is getting posted a little late since I had some technical problems last night. And let me say that they are really good. There's some awesome cards and projects that the other gals have put together. So no pressure for me. It's a little intimidating having seen their work out there already. But make sure you go check that out. So that's 6 through 10. And now the guide is telling me I'm going to come over here with 11. So I have a short piece here, and I'm going to start that with 11. Now this particular guide, like I said, is printed backwards. I should probably figure out a way to fix that. And some of the numbers on this guide that I'm using or pieces aren't even filled in. So the main thing is just to know kind of how to work your way around that and make sure you're alternating correctly. So I don't even remember what I did. So 10, 11, 12. So I'm going to come over here to 13. So as I get going on this, sometimes I just even forget like what number I'm on, and just make sure that I keep alternating. And then it comes back over here to 14. Oh, see, I'm already messing up because I'm talking at the same time. So this should be a green. So we'll save that little piece. You guys may have caught that, thinking, what is she doing? And hopefully I'm not confusing you. But so we want to make sure that our greens are on the opposite of each other. And then we'll come over here with our red. like that. And now we're going to come over here with a red. I think this is 15. We just did 14. And then we're going to do another red here to get that built up. You want to think it's like every other one, but it's not quite every other one. But now we'll start working our way around a little bit more. So turn that around. So now here is 17. And here is 18. And this one is 19. Even these tiny pieces, I'm going to hang on to the very end, because once we get really close, we will need a lot of tiny pieces. This is 21. And then here's 22. So in the comments, if you would let me know if you've done any iris paper piecing before. I would love to know if you have, and what kinds of things have you done, because I've found that there are so many things out there. I mean, you could literally just turn anything into an iris design. So let me know what kinds of things you've done in the iris designs and how you've worked them out. Now we're getting into our really tiny pieces here. And sometimes one of the things about this is just kind of holding back that urge to want to peek. I have peeked before when I have not been quite sure if I've messed up or not, but I do try to resist that urge to lift it up and take a little peek if I can. Okay, so now we are ready for the center of the iris. So we can get these strips out of the way. And I'm just going to put some adhesive all around that center. And I'm going to use the dark side, so I'm going to put that down face down. And we'll gently lift this up. And the fun part is the big reveal. And isn't that gorgeous? So I do like, you can see very subtly that black that kind of pops out a little bit more. So I'm just gonna make sure I'm still recording just in case. So now, excuse me. What I'm gonna do here is I want my little elf to be poking out or peeking out the side of my stocking. So I'm using my negative piece here as the stocking, and I can figure out like where I want him lined up. So I'm thinking, if this is my card, I want him about like that maybe, and we'll keep this hand out. So I'm going to take a pencil and just draw a line right there. Now what I can do is bring in my thin cuts, and we'll get him cut out, but then we'll cut him right on that line. Now you can see I like to do my stamping and coloring and then run my items through my die cut machine. Other people will die cut first and then stamp. It's just all about the personal preference. So I have the Close to My Heart die cut machine, and I'm just running that through real quick. So there he is. We'll pop him out real easily. Let me get some of this out of the way here. And then we're going to come in and cut him right on that line. So he'll be ready to peek right out of the side of that stocking. So we want to do a little bit more to the front panel before we start popping things up and everything. So I'm going to bring in my journaling pen. This is the 0.5, and I want to add some doodle line here. Notice how I'm keeping my wrist and my arm very straight, and I'm just dragging the pen straight down. This is because I want it to be fairly straight, not perfect, but fairly straight. If I wanted something more whimsical, I would probably do a different method, or I would come back in and weave through some more wavy lines. But that's fairly straight, and that's kind of the look I'm attempting. So I have a stamp that come out of that stamp set, which says "Believe in Your Elf." And I'm going to stamp that with black ink. I don't need the archival black or the intense black because I'm not going to color it in or anything. So I'm going to lay my elf here and know where I need to position my stamping. And that will help me put that in the right spot. Okay. Clean that off. And then I want to put some ribbon on that. So what I want to do is have some ribbon come down and tie a little bow here as if the stocking is hanging actually from the mantle. So I use separate scissors for my ribbon, and there's the cat. She's always jumping into my videos because she wants to be the star. So I'm going to bring in some glue dots, and let's see, we'll start with this one. I'm just going to glue that down in place for start. And then I'm going to bring it up and wrap it around. And then I can glue that down in the back as well. My daughter stole some of these glue dots, so normally I have everything covered up, but they're kind of out of whack right now. Okay, so I'll put my bow on kind of towards the end. No, kitty, you can't have my ribbon. I'm so sorry. She loves to play with my supplies. She steals my foam tape all the time. Okay, so Now we're ready to put the card together. So I'm going to put my scarlet, this is scarlet cardstock, onto my card base. But I want this to be popped up. And the reason I want it to be popped up is for a couple of reasons. I want to secure all these little pieces down because they can pop up easily. And I just used a little bit of that mono air adhesive. So I'm going to put a lot of my tape runner on the back of this. And I want it secured down really well, so those pieces don't go anywhere. And when I pop up a large piece like this, I will use a piece of fun foam instead. And it looks like I cut it just a little bit large. So I'm going to come in here with my scissors and trim that down. Here you go. Okay, and now I can put that on the top of my card, just like that. So I'm going to put the adhesive on the card instead of the fun foam because it sticks a little bit better to the cardstock. Okay. For my elf, I want to give him some extra dimension as well. So I'm bringing in my thin foam tape and I'm going to pop him up on top of the card and have him peeking out there a little bit from that stocking. She's back. I like a lot of dimension in my projects. I know that some people are worried about how well these are going to go through the mail. I usually don't even think about that when I design and create. I probably should, but I just like to have dimension. So that might be something else you comment and let me know about. Like, do you put a lot of dimension on your projects? Because I do, especially my scrapbook layouts. I love dimension. So I'm gonna make a tiny little bow here. I'm gonna start over because some people have a hard time with bows. So I like to do a loop here, wrap it around, and then go through my loop and then tie it. There are some like the Bow Easy and things like that, but I'm just an old-fashioned gal and can just make that real quick with my old-fashioned fingers. And this one needs to be pretty small, so I'm just going to keep pulling it in tighter to make it small. And I think she's about to jump in here again because she sees me working with this ribbon. So my bow is going to come right up here, but I want to make sure that it doesn't interfere too much with my sentiment. So I think that's about good. And we'll trim down our tails. Yep. Put that away. Come on. Okay, so now we can put our bow on. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me while I'm doing this. I am doing it live as opposed to voiceover because I didn't want to have any additional problems with my recording. And I'm just going to come in and trim a little bit more of this off underneath. Okay, so I noticed that when I got to this far, it was really top heavy up here. So I'm going to bring in my black enamel liquid pearls. And I'm just gonna add some extra embellishment down here. She is in rare form today. Just to kind of help offset the, so it doesn't want to cooperate, the black and the heaviness at the top. I wanted to give it a little bit down here at the bottom. So I'm going to do a technique that I call flick to flatten. So when you do these pearls, sometimes you get a little Hershey Kiss look at the top with the point. So if you just flick that a little bit, it'll flatten those. And this one doesn't seem to have a good round shape, so I'm going to make it bigger and a little bit more rounded. Hopefully I'm making it better and not worse. And you can see how that Hershey Kiss look is going away. And I just thought I would take a look at these stickers and decide if I wanted to add one down here to offset some of that. I was looking at this Believe one, and I thought it might look cute down here. Probably should have put it on first, but I think I'm just going to leave it off and leave well enough alone. So that's my card for today with the iris piecing, but I wanted to bring in some other iris Christmas cards that I've done and show you that they can come in all kinds of shape and form. These are some previous Christmas ones I did, and these are kind of the horizontal iris in different sizes. And here's one with a vertical, and then this one is kind of crisscrossing. So I hope that you like that. Please remember to hit the like and subscribe button, and make sure you go check out the other gals in the collaboration videos as well. I appreciate your time today and hope that you will definitely come back for more videos. Thanks and have a great day.